Hello, interwebs. I'm back, but you don't know that because the last couple haven't got put up yet. So I'll be back by the time you eventually see this. But if you never see this, I was probably not back. Or I am back, and who am I kidding? No one is watching this. All right.
Internet is fickle.
This is going to be tough. We got to get through a shit ton. I read 5 books last night. All right, let's start with The Flash. He's so fast. Except he's not anymore. By the end of this, he's so strong because the strength force is...
They made that a thing now.
Oh, there's a bunch of forces, and that's one of the problems that's going on. And we're getting a flashbacks from the future. Flashback to the future as we get the secret origin of Commander Cold, of the... Not the rogues, what do they call themselves? The renegades, rebels, something that they are, that is like the future that he's from, which they use some of the speech like the Legion of Superheroes, but I think it's not quite that far yet. But he's the cops, the super cops are all named slightly modified versions of the rogues. But in this, we see him kill the good guys. Names have been altered and used by bad guys. So in the future, we get to watch the man who would become Commander Cold kill Elongated Maniac. Or I suppose if you want to be taking Elongated Maniac. So that was kind of neat. The DC Comics right now throw me every time I look at them because I keep forgetting that they recently changed paper quality. And it reminds me of, remember when they were experimenting with Baxter paper and the only 2 titles printed on it, it was a higher quality comic page. It wasn't the gloss, like when, which is what things have been forever, where like lately where every page is like the same as the cover, that same kind of gloss, whatever. But it wasn't that, and it was a thicker, almost not quite cardstock paper. And the only titles that DC had out of that were New Teen Titans, or Titans, whichever it was called at the time.
Pretty sure it was New Titans.
And the Vigilante miniseries. Like, yeah.
Random?
Yeah, just what they tested that paper on. And it reminds me of that, and that kind of makes me happy. Anyway... Good stuff, interesting stuff, weird little turn for The Flash. Action Comics 102. 1002, sorry.
I was about to say, didn't they go back to the old numbering?
Action Comics 1002. Bendis was made to write Superman. I still have some, little nagging fears in the back of my head, like in this one. Lois is back. But she has been hiding under a wig and didn't want to tell Clark, and it hints at the fact that there's going to be some marital problems in the world of Kent, which makes me mad because it took forever to get them back together after New 52 made them have never been married, and then we finally get it all fixed, and the first new storyline under the next creative team is, hey, let's break that, which always... makes me nuts, but that doesn't mean it's bad. You're allowed to write shit that makes me nuts. In fact, it's almost impossible not to. So this is really good. It's just not always what I want. This is like to paraphrase from Batman genres. This may not be the Superman
you
want, but it is the Superman. I don't even deserve this. So no, neither of that works. This isn't the Superman I want, and it's probably better than the Superman I deserve. But it's the Superman I have. Thank you, Mr. Bendis. No, it's really good. And it's so... this gets all investigational. There's the new journalist who seems to be anti-Superman. And we can scratch off seems to be since she goes out to find some kryptonite on the black market. Jeez. That's up in the ante a little. Her last name's Good. But she's not. It's a trick. Don't you believe it? I spent an inordinate amount of time before I even read the story going through the Post-it notes on Clark's computer. that include, like, clearly these were written while Bendis was doing his homework, getting ready to write Superman, because there's, like, anything he thought was neat, he wrote down. And then there's also stuff that's like a nod. It's like the Easter egg hunt of, he says, Cole Byrne, what does he know? Remind Bendis, eye appointment. Is KG Beast tied to election hacking? I literally died.
Okay, that one is funny.
Miller plus Ramita equals question mark. Batmite conspiracy follow-up. Suicide slum shelter with a number. What is the Superman theory? Your cousin called, said she and, quote, the dog are fine. Because Supergirl just left Earth.
Yep.
With crypto. I know you're looking at this, Jim. It says, there's a post-it note that says, remind Jimmy pay rent. Above it is another post-it note that says, I know you're looking at this, Jim. Hal Jordan called again. Says he'll be out of town a while. There's something that just says 12:10 p.m. Maybe that's when Bendis wrote all this. Maybe there's something deeper I'm missing. Either Hall of Justice photos, Jimmy. Follow up with B and WW regarding sanctuary improvements. So even hinting at, talking to Batman and Wonder Woman about the series that's about to start. Reminder, return Bruce's wedding gift. Story idea, underfunded, underused. What's the future of Checkmate? Investigate Jen, crossed out Jess Chen. Profile, the new Queen of the Sea, Mira, Queen of Atlantis. Black Label pitch, Red Tornado Year 1. Melody Moore, there's a phone number. 2814. Tetsuo with a question mark. Talk with Perry regarding Trish Q's Maggie Sawyer story. LexCorp's main number. Jim Lee called. John's school number. Superman private line, go away, Trish. So this, what's the heck's her name? Is she Trish? I don't even know. Just keep calling her Miss Good. But Miss Good's story is on claiming that Superman is just dropping low-level thieves in the middle of the street and splattering them, and Perry's very mad that that's not. He's like, go do some actual investigative reporting. We get the return of Cat Grant, who spills the beans that Lois is back and that she's written a book. And then there she is in her wig, and Clark's like, Lois, and she's like, takes the wig off. Hi, honey. So who knows what's up there? But I have faith in Bendis. Again, like I said, there are little things nagging at me, like I want my Jonathan back. I want hell, I still want Connor back. I mean, come on. You guys keep giving me Superboys and taking them away. What's up with that? But quality of writing, this is great. Even the stuff I don't like is so well done that I enjoy reading it. It just sometimes, it's not up to like breaking my heart level, but sometimes it makes me go, why? But I'm hooked, and that's the point. Is it's so good. Bendis was made. Forget gone are the everybody making the jokes about it's going to be like just Justice League talking heads or just The Office and everyone just conversation same panel use. No, none of that. And of course the art is beautiful because it's Gleason, it's Pat Gleason on art, and so that makes the transition a little smoother because he was drawing all the things when I loved it the most. So yeah, Bendis' Superman is super. It's just I'm catching my breath from I think my favorites. I've read Superman since I was 12. And I've been a fan of the character since earlier than that. I'm 46 now. And out of all of those things, my favorite run of Superman ever was the previous run to this. It was the Rebirth Superman. And that's a lot to come in. You go, wow, in a 30-year reading, this was my favorite one, and now you're the next guy. But Bendis is nailing it, and I actually feel guilty when I doubt. I'm like, and it makes me wonder how much of the little, not to be like all corporate or whatever, but it makes me wonder how much of the things that made me go, why is that happening? Where more, working within the Marvel box, and whether or not DC just kind of said, hey, we've got Bendis. Here's the keys. Don't break anything. Lock up when you're done. And they gave him like these. You see these keys? These used to be Jeff's. He's writing movies now. So here, you can drive the boat.
Yeah, go do something.
Darth Vader, not like in love amongst the Inquisitors, because he doesn't. If it's the old, I don't get my true love. No one does. So it's Darth Vader hunting down Inquisitors, because right now there's no Jedis to hunt.
Always gotta hunt something.
Vader grows a set of cojones. Darth cojones. After he chases people all over.
That's gonna be a thing on the net now. That.
Darth cojones. What is it? After he basically tears up Coruscant. Turns out that he's still young Vader. So he has one of those chase scenes level that's very reminiscent of the last time he was on Coruscant with Obi-Wan, when they chased through all the, only this time he's going after, and in the end, I won't spoil it, but the way he, the clever, creative, and oh so poetic way that he kills these two is a thing of twisted beauty. But he grows some cojones because as the Emperor's yelling at him, saying, you cut a swath of destruction across my capital world, you can't have this. And he's like, he says to Vader, first of all, he gives Vader a present. It's Padme's old ship, the chrome one, and there's a little robot cleaning it up, saying, I'll have it back to, and he crushes the robot, and Palpatine's like, yes, perhaps it suits you better this way, as it is. Then he tells him, I've got a new job for you, and he tells him what he's going to do, and Vader's like, no. And Palpatine's like, no. Like, you dare to question me? And Vader's like, I've destroyed the remaining Jedi for you. I will perform any other tests you require, but first I ask that you give me a world. He's like, oh, a world. And he's like, a place to hone your skills, hone your rage. Okay. And he starts to name. He's like, a world that's befitting of you. He goes, he's like, Naboo, perhaps? I know you have connections to that planet. This is the esteem in which I hold you, my apprentice. I would give you my home world. Because Palpatine's from there, too, remember? And he's like, or your own Tatooine. You could burn its sand to glass, repay the suffering there 1,000 times. He could have had Tatooine, and we could have skipped everything of hunting down those kids. But no, he's like, no. And the last page is just Vader leaning into Mustafar. He wants the world on which, and we know eventually that's where Vader's castle is. He wants the world on which he became Vader. Because
he doesn't want anything to do with it.
No, because it makes perfect sense. Because what does he tell Luke until he finally breaks and steps in? He's like, what's true according to Obi-Wan from a certain point of view? Anakin Skywalker is dead. This is the birthplace of Vader. There is no Anakin, only Zool.
Yeah,
all right?
Well, that makes sense.
The Amazing Spider-Man has a Marvel team up with Peter Parker. What?
Oh yeah, that's still going on, isn't it?
Turns out, without any of his great responsibility, Spidey is doing more damage to the city, having hijacked, and poor Peter doesn't even have the science knowledge anymore. Spidey got all the science knowledge. Peter got all the responsibility. Peter's doing all sorts of nice things to the point where he gets arrested because, and this is true, turns out that, and New York City is one of them, in most cities, putting money in someone else's
oh, absolutely. The meter.
Parking meter is considered a crime. Because that's just the world we live in. Because Because it turns out they can make more money. City can make more money on a ticket than they can on
absolutely
responsibly paid things. So Peter gets arrested for that. That's fun. He also finds out the bad news that the mice that were split the same way that he was both died because apparently they're unstable once the split happens. So he has to try and figure out how to split back with his old self. But his old self has used his science knowledge to hijack the Tri-Sentinel and is using the Tri-Sentinel. There's like on the news, he uses not even for like major people, hence the problem. He uses a Tri-Sentinel to take out I don't even remember who the first guy is, but there was a fight with Stegron that wiped out an entire wing of the Museum of Natural History. The fight with Hydro-Man that knocked out the power grid from Columbus Circle to the Bronx. The less said about the fight with Cyclone, the better. But needless to say, people really liked that dog park. So Peter's got to try and set things right. It's so fun. It's just fun. And especially, like, on the one hand, it's like, that kind of stuff seems silly. But on the other hand, while I love Dan Slott's run, everything was always these, I mean, he knew how to write Peter. Peter was funny. But everything was always these, like, here's people eating all the Spider-Men from multiple worlds. Here's everyone in the city getting turned into a spider. Here's clones of the dead. Here's, everything was always some crushingly huge. And so it's nice to just have some silliness happen. Speaking of silliness, the final thing I read, I have mixed emotions on, so I don't even know whether I'm giving it a good review or a bad review. I think I'm just giving it a review because I really liked parts of it, but I don't feel it meshed as well as I wanted it to yet. This is Kelly Thompson, Stefano Caselli, and Triana Farrell's West Coast Avengers. This logo is a little too 80s for me. And believe me, I love the 80s, but this makes me think there were some horrible comics in the 80s where they used these kind of lettering. And it's hard to get past that if you're me. The art is beautiful. And the story is funny, but sometimes it doesn't flow as naturally. Like sometimes you could see too much behind the scenes of it trying. But it does introduce, even the one that, the last concept was a little, well, first off, how do I explain? Once you add Gwenpool to anything, you've already jumped the shark. But this literally jumps sharks, and that was one of my favorite parts. They fight land sharks. There are these sharks with these legs and little arms that just were running all over California. And I love it. So they're fighting these land sharks.
Oh my god.
I don't know if he's new, but Fuse, Johnny Watts, a.k.a. Fuse, is Kate Bishop, Hawkeye's boyfriend. He's got like absorbing man powers. He turns into whatever he touches. Hawkeye, original Hawkeye continues to be original Hawkeye. They do a recruiting. This is the part I was talking about. Like some of these, I mean, I laughed at some things, but and the art is so good that whenever I'm at a tipping point of it's not flowing the way I want it to, but the art's so beautiful that it carries me through. So on a scale of 1 to 10, this never dips below. There might have been a moment of 6, but mostly this stayed like 7 or 8 for me. But I really wanted it to be 9 or 10 because Kelly Thompson, you know what I'm saying? This is one of my favorite parts. This lady calls herself Diva and wants to know where the other Hawkeye is. You know, the cute one. And she's like, I'm Hawkeye. There's 2. We're both cute. It's like, well, when does he get here? Is he seeing anyone? And she's like, I'm sure he's seeing many someones. And she's like, the other one's like, I'll wait. And he's like, but I need the chair. I've got lots of appointments. If you don't have powers or special skills. And she's like, oh, I've got skills. And she's like, oh, gross lady. And hey, you know what? He's gay. What? Really? No way. Yeah, I know, shocking, but all the really cute ones are. So you should probably leave. And she just chases her out by telling her Hawkeye's gay. And then instantly the next panel is just her going, are those spiders? And there's a guy just covered in spiders. Yeah, I'm the Spider King. She's like, nope. So, some of it, the Surf Doctor, the Broken Watch, his power is to be right twice a day. Dark Paladin, who's just like a, over-the-top cliche of Batman. Dr. Mole is actually a mole.
Does he have
the
his doctor?
Scorp? Is that supposed to be short for Scorpion? You know it, babe. Get out. The Dutch Oven.
Oh, God.
Silver Snowboarder, whose powers only work in the snow. Do you think maybe Los Angeles not the best choice for you?
Nah.
Wolverine, he's just a guy cosplaying Wolverine with steak knives held together by rubber bands in his hands. But then there's Gwenpool, who has and suppose it makes sense, but there's never really a full... Her and Quentin Quire just instantly hate each other and talk trash, but in a way that I'm like, with either of those characters, you could have made this flow, had something happen, and then built, but it just kind of happened, and it seemed stilted. And I love Quentin Quire, and I can't stand Gwenpool, so this didn't help. Yeah, Quentin Quire, whose shirts now say like things like Generation Choir, something else, choir something. They end up fighting like a 50-foot tiger, and that's beautiful. But that's after talking about MODOK at one point. They end up at the end, and this is the part that it's really just bizarre and kind of shoehorned in, but it's so it's not truly a pun, but it's definitely a play on words, and it's so bad that I have no choice but to love it, because I am me, and I bow before this. We get this guy. He's good looking. It looks like Longshot, but with a head that's too big. And he just walks in and kisses Kate in front of everybody. Not everyone, including her boyfriend, is taking this thrill happily, but he introduces himself. I am Brodok, biorobotic organism designed overwhelmingly for kissing. And Brodok will save you all.
God damn it.
At which point I was forced to agree with Gwenpool, who says, what the fuck? And that's how you end a first issue, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, God.
So, even though it wasn't the smooth sailing brilliance I expect from Kelly Thompson,
They did stick the landing.
It was still, it stuck the landing right here in my heart. I have nothing but love for Brodok.
Oh, God. You need to show Cobble.
I know. I don't know if Cobble read this, but if he didn't, it's his new favorite thing. And all right, I will leave you with Brodok. Go run out and get West Coast Avengers.
So bad.
The fact that it's as funny as it is, as weird as it is, as beautiful as it is, and so good that it's even good when it's not good. This tells me that based on what I know of the industry and Marvel, it should make around 8 to 12 issues.
Yeah.
And then we can all be heartbroken and buy the trade.
Also, probably a little sad.
But it's what I want to say is it doesn't flow as well as what I'm comparing it to, but it's the next best thing. This is the book you read when you finish rereading your complete Next Wave trade. This is the book.
Okay.
And that's some high praise. All right.